Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to see this, I would like to offer the elemental energy reading for January of 2025 for the energy of fire. Fire covers the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. If you're new here, I read for the elements, not the zodiac, and there's a video linked in the description as to why that is. If you've never had your charts read or not quite sure what your elemental balance is, there is a natal chart linked in the description. It's not sponsored, but it is a really cool tool if you've never had that. So with that, we will get started. Starting off, I like to do the I-ching, so I cast the hexagram before the video so we don't have to wait for all that. And fire, all of our salamanders here. We got our hexagram of 64. I kept looking at the number and forgot the word. Hexagram of 64. And your hexagram 64 is before completion is the title. Before completion, success. Before the little fox has quite completed its crossing of the ice, its tail gets wet. No goal or destination is favorable now. It kind of sounds like fire. Just kind of do your thing this month. Don't really push too hard towards goals, even though January is all about our big goals and our New Year's resolutions. What I'm hearing is it's all right to just kind of take that pause before you finish the project. It's all right to kind of take that breath. If something happens to not go the way you thought it should, totally all right. It's going to end up on the good side of things. So this month, don't let the little stuff bother you is what I'm hearing. So we'll start line by line. Our bottom line here, our foundation. Its tail gets wet, disgrace. It's all right if there's an opportunity that you miss. It's also alright if you happen to skip one opportunity but fall into another one. Things don't always play out the way we would anticipate. What I'm getting for this foundation is it's alright if the plan does not go the way you thought it should. As long as the goal is the main purpose, what you're aiming for is the main focus here, it really doesn't matter how you get there. They're saying don't do negative, obviously, but its tail gets wet, so something didn't go quite right. It's all right. Keep your eyes on the prize. Your next line, he breaks the wheel of the chariot. Righteous persistence brings good fortune. Even if something goes, in your opinion, for the moment, massively wrong, the chariot's riding along and the wheel falls off and shatters. That's not how they work, but imagination here. That doesn't mean that everything's bad. It could mean that you needed that pause because you were going the wrong direction. It could have said you need that pause because you're resting to dodge the chaos that might be up ahead. Have you ever gotten stuck behind a slow-moving vehicle and you're annoyed when you're driving down the road, only to find out later that you may have just missed a 5-car pileup? I have. And that's what they're saying here is, even if stuff happens to not go right, fire, it's totally all right. You'll get where you need to go, and you might just miss some of the other nonsense along the way. So our third place line, the crossing is incomplete, so to advance now would bring misfortune, yet it would be advantageous to cross the great river or sea. You're not going to finish everything all at once. It's not how that works. And I'm sorry, fire, you like to get things done, you get really passionate about stuff. This is where you bank that fire. You step into that Leo energy kind of thing where it's more of long term is what you're going at here. So it's not saying don't go forward, don't rush forward. That is the key. You can keep moving because it says it would be advantageous to cross the great river or sea. Just keep working on that big project, but don't rush it. Again, little self-control. It's not going to be super easy because I know how fire likes to get things done, and I don't blame them. Things need to happen. Our fourth place line, persistence in a righteous course brings reward and regret vanishes. The subjugation of the land of Kauai involves tremendous activity. At the end of 3 years, great territories were bestowed upon the successful generals. Not sure what the land of Kauai means. Let's hop over here to the commentary. This implies we must work and perhaps suffer much in order to gain fulfillment of our will promised in the commentary. So even though you've had to go through struggles, even though there's some things that they're not happening as fast or the way you thought they should, when you set the big goals and you hand it over to God's Source Divine, you work with those energies. Sometimes Spirit sees stuff you don't, and so sometimes they will redirect you, which to you might feel like it's the end of the world, things are falling apart. But just because things didn't go the way you anticipated at the beginning, it doesn't mean you're not going to get the reward, because it says the territories were bestowed upon the successful general. You'll get where you're headed, you just might have to take a detour. So our 5th place line, this broken one here: persistence in a righteous course brings good fortune and absence of regret. The luster of the superior man wins people's confidence, hence good fortune. Persistence in a righteous course. Be ethical, be moral, be honest, focus on the correct things. Don't try to cheat the system, it never works. Stay really clear in what your intentions are and stay really honest in how you get it. The luster of the superior man wins people's confidence by doing things the right way, following the right path, not letting the hiccups along the road discourage or disgrace you. It actually helps you shine in the eyes of others. Don't let your ego get involved, but they're going to see you as, look, you can do it that way. You don't have to fill in the blank down the road. This is the way it's supposed to happen. They can do it, so can I. So you're going to kind of step into, by the end of the month, a little bit of this being a representation of what could happen. So you're going to come out looking good, even though they may not see how many times you've tripped and fell along the way. And it's all right to do that. Our capstone here to the top line: those in whom the people repose their trust may feast themselves without doing wrong, but if they allow their heads to get wet, they will forfeit the trust. That sounds interesting. It is a warning against excess and pride. So, those in whom people repose their trust may feast themselves without doing wrong. Don't allow yourself to get too haughty, because you are living as an example for others. That doesn't mean you get to be like, I'm so much better than them. No, you struggle and fall. What this is saying is, don't allow those struggles, those issues, to discourage you or disgrace you, because you're going to get what you're hunting for. It may not show up in the way you anticipated, and that's okay. So, from there we'll hop over to our tarot. I read week by week, so there's approximately 4.5 weeks, so we're going to do 5 weeks for fire for January. I look at a guide or guardian, someone to help you through the week, a message from source, which is a positive supporting thing or some encouragement, and then we look at a lesson or a challenge from the tarot. The tarot has a much broader range of wisdom to offer us, and so a lesson or a challenge in that respect is going to say, this is something you can work on, a lesson to learn, or a challenge, something that might be coming in, and here's a little heads up on it. So we'll start off with, at any of the decks or cards or books I'm using are linked in the description. You can check those out. For Fire's first week guide or guardian, it's the Whale. Life as a fully conscious being working with Archangels Mary and Jules. Don't know who Jules is. So this is one of my newer decks, and I'm not as familiar with all of the little terms here. So let's see what the book has to say for our whales. I do read intuitively. I just don't want to. When it comes to spirit animals, I'm not as confident or comfortable with those. Confident, whatever. So we'll peek into what they have to say. Whales are awesome evolved beings originating from the 10th dimensional universe of Shekinah. They carry a level of love and joy that is currently beyond our comprehension. As they swim in the oceans, Archangel Mary pours blessings down, while Archangel, I'm assuming it's Jules, Jules sends blessings up to the whales from the portal of the Bermuda Triangle. Well, that's cool. Held in the shaft of pure love, they spread the light and message of the archangels, as well as the higher codes of enlightenment and hope they bring in from the Shekinah. It's a card of mastery, one of the first steps to control your breathing. So when we work with whale energy, it's really about growth. Whales do carry, especially when you listen to the whale recordings that they have on like YouTube, or I'm sure there's some on Odyssey or Rumble. But when you listen to those whale sounds, there's a different vibe that comes off of them. It's not just shrieks and clicks like you would think. When you actually listen, it triggers something different. And whales, and most of the sea creatures, whales and dolphins especially, are really tapped into higher frequency energies. So what's coming in this first week of January is be open to an ascending energy that's going to help encourage and open you up to higher frequencies, new ways of looking at life. With the I-ching's message of don't let the stumbles stop you, the whales are saying the support is coming in this first week to help you see things from that higher perspective, help you tap into your higher frequencies, work with your guides and guardians, God Source Divine, to really connect to that higher self energy. So your message from Source is lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. When we talk about the whales, it also can trigger very strong regression energy. So you're looking back not just in this life, but all the lives before. And with the message from Source is saying, don't worry so much about the details. This is a time where you came into this world making certain agreements because you wanted to achieve certain energy frequencies, certain lessons in life. And you've done this before because all the lessons you agreed to in this life were things to help you develop character, develop the strength to step through some of these other gateways. But I'm also hearing with this one, success you've had in the previous lives, success that you have used to help build empires in some cases, has allowed you in this life to step into places where you can support others in building theirs. You are here on a growth mission, Fire, but it's not your growth exclusively. It's very important to work on that, but you're also here as a supporting role, being the example for other people to be able to step into their greatness. Fire, you have a gift this month of January, just from this first week, where you are coming in as the living example so others can follow it and build upon the foundation that you're helping lay. So your first week's lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Four of Ariel. When you give, you also receive. Being resistant to change, extremes in how you spend or save. Watch your finances this first week. We're just coming after Christmas and Yule and all of that jazz. So watch your finances this week is the kind of a heads up on that. But it's also saying when things start to shift and change, especially when you're helping others grow by being an example, don't resist, like, oh, I stumbled, must not tell anyone. Don't worry about that. If it happens and someone sees it, they're paying attention to how you respond to it, not the action that happened. So this first week is really saying, tap into that higher frequency. You've done this before. Meditate on regressions. Be honest with yourself. You'll be interested. It's interesting to find out when you do those kind of things, what you actually bring forward. And then the other part is this first week, watch the finances. Don't get too overzealous one way or another there. But it also saying your resistance to letting others see that you're fully human is not going to benefit you. So allow the mistakes. It's all right. Respond to it with grace and dignity. That's what's going to really impress people. Your second week's guide or guardian is the Giraffe. Aspire to higher knowledge and wisdom with Archangel Jophiel. And Archangel Jophiel can also be seen as Archangel Eophiel. And I did a video on those two, and it's basically a translation. So depending on which book you read as to which, the energies are almost identical. So the regal and elegant fifth dimensional giraffe energy descended to Earth from Orion, the constellation of wisdom, carrying high frequency light. Their crown chakras are wide open, and this enables them to reach energetically into the galaxies to access knowledge and wisdom and download it into the world. Turning the page. They stay connected with their home, Orion, through the ray of truth, and they spread their light through the ley lines of Earth. When you receive giraffe energy, it's higher wisdom. It suggests you look beyond limitations of your current circumstances and situations. Continue to fulfill your daily commitment and responsibilities while you explore life from the higher perspective. This is really reinforcing what the I-ching said. It doesn't really matter about the details. That's not going to benefit you. Keep your focus and your connection to God, Source Divine. That connection, that guidance is going to be so fulfilling, especially this month overall, but this first or second week is really saying, if you've never worked with some of your higher chakras, the stellar gateways, the soul star, things like that, take the time this week to ask your guides to show them to you. You may not have them fully open yet, and that's totally fine. Everyone wakes up in a different way. But if you become aware of them through meditation, through conscious reaching out, it also is giving the message to Spirit that I'm ready for a different growth session. Now, again, when you start waking that stuff up, you also have the stumbles of what does this mean? How does it work? But the giraffe energy is coming in to say, as long as you are ready and you are ready to step into that higher frequency, waking up the higher chakras is not going to be that big of a deal. Your message from Source is, I remember the soul plan, the fated life versus destiny. When you really start to tap into that higher energy, working with the giraffe energy and stepping into that higher frequency, like it said in the first week, where you remember some of those past lessons that you brought forward, what it's saying is you set up various things that are life plans, destiny, if you will. But that doesn't mean that you can't pick a different route. You set in place hundreds of thousands of agreements, and I'm sure by now there have been different varies on that line. If you look at like string theory and multidimensional theories and a lot of that quantum physics woo-woo stuff, when you start to look at that, every decision, every decision gate, every fork in the road, you have made decisions that have changed where you're headed. When you step into this energy of I remember, you're connecting into God, Source Divine, saying, I am ready to fully embrace what it is I came here. What was the big thing that I came here to do? There's all these little branches that are saying, these go this way, go that way, go this way, go that way. But what was my end game? What were the big things that I wanted to accomplish? Help me see the overall plan. And when you start to look at life from that perspective, book just fell on the floor, it changes how you respond. Because then, oh, well, I needed that fender bender that someone smacked my car because it prevented me from showing up to work on time, and my boss was in a mood that day and he ended up leaving. It's little things like that where you start to see the bigger plan, the grand scheme of the universe really does conspire in your favor when you are open to it. It's usually us that trips ourselves up. So that's what we're hearing here, is remembering how beautiful and how amazing the goals and the plans that you had before you became in physical form. How can you manifest those now? Now, our lesson, our challenge, is the Queen of Ariel, still with the air energy here. Mature, practical, generous, and happy. Nurture yourself and those you love. The ability to make anything more beautiful, practical, and wise advice. They're saying that this is a huge lesson coming in for fire. The second week, you're connecting to your higher self. You're starting to remember the reasons that you're here. And those reasons, a lot of the time, are so simple as be happy, share love. The Queen of Ariel wants you to understand these are times where you can share that love with those closest to you, share that joy with the expansion of everyone else. Because when you smile, it doesn't matter if it's checker at the grocery store, at the valet, at the parking garage, whatever, a simple smile, thank you, hey, I really appreciate this, whatever, that is sharing that love to other people, and that's living by example. And the Queen of Ariel is saying, you possess all of this joy, this power, this energy to create. Are you creating joy, or are you creating not so joy? So this second week, the lesson is, remember why you are doing this. It's not just a simple, well, I have to make all this money and I have to prove myself better than that person down the street. No, why are you doing it? What's the purpose in life? And they want you to remember in the second week to really tap into that energy. Our third week energy is the dog, which is going to be very loyal, I'm assuming. We have, nope, not quite. This book is getting better because it's opening up at least within the letter section for me. Be disciplined in your home and community life. You're working with Archangel Zariel. And canines, wolves, foxes, domestic hounds, and others originate from Sirius, where the gold ray of Christ is kept. They incarnate to bring the unconditional love energy to Earth and to pass this pure light to other animals and to people. Dogs are mainly learning about various forms of family structure. Their spiritual purpose is to be companions to humans. They have surrendered the familiarity of their own kind to support us. When you receive dogs in energy into your life, you're invited to look at the structure of your family life, your friendships, including coworkers and acquaintances. Are you loyal to each other? Do you respect each other? Do you all relate to each other for the highest good of everyone? Are you disciplined or chaotic in your lifestyle? The dogs are coming in to really remind you what it means to love unconditionally. Now, that doesn't mean that all dogs do that. If you ever watch them around treats, they get a little aggressive. But the energy overall is dogs love their owners, even when we from the outside are like, why? They're chained up outside, they're mean to them, but that dog is still super loyal to them because a dog's energy is very, very much about love and universal focus. So when we look at the dog energy this third week, it's about your guides and guardians are coming in as canines. If you have a pup, really give them an extra little hug or a treat this week. But they're also saying, watch how they act. They don't get upset over minor stuff. I've had dogs in my life, not mine personally, but friends and stuff, where a dog will have a tumor on its leg and have to have surgery. The dog still hops around like fine, whatever. They have had broken bones, teeth pulled out, whatever. Dogs just kind of go with the flow, and that's what they're saying is always find a reason to be happy and joyful. In this third week, they really want to work with that energy with you. Your message from Source is lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. This is where you start tapping into that higher frequency when you look at things from the perspective of joy, of letting it all go, not worrying about all the details. It allows you to lift the veil of depression, of anxiety, of the frustration of, well, they aren't letting me. They're not the ones in charge of you. Even if it's work, I mean, yeah, you've got rules and policies sometimes you have to follow, but that doesn't mean it's restricting your joy. It's not restricting your happiness. It's not restricting what you do off hours. This is where you have to remember what's important versus what is you have to deal with. And this card, when it says questioning everything, question why. Why are you in the situation? Are you not happy with the job? Is it an outside force? Is it a job that just doesn't feed your soul? Or is it something more of, well, that one person, you're going to let one person mess your energy up? Like, that doesn't sound fun. So really start tapping into that energy of, why is this like this? Looking at things from that higher perspective, that broader universal mind energy, where you can actually see things from the highest frequencies. So let's take a peek at our lesson or challenge for this third week. Gimme. And we have the 10 of Michael. A situation ending. You are finally free. New opportunities for happiness are following you. Put the past behind you. You have to look at the past to see how far you've come. Get the lessons from it. But you do not have to carry all of the stress, the frustration, the emotional baggage that comes with it. And this third week is saying, dogs don't carry emotional baggage. They let it all go. Your message from Source is question it. Why is this still here? Why am I still worried about what I said to Sally in the 3rd grade? Is that important for this moment? No. Forgive it, let it go. And the Ten of Michael is a good card because Michael's energy, well, he's fire angel anyway, but it's also about cutting cords and releasing stuff that's not serving. Release the past. You don't have to carry that with you. Let it go. And that's what the energy I'm hearing is really about spiritual growth. So work with what comes forward as you're listening to this. The first thing that comes to mind, that's where you just start asking Michael, how do I remove this? How do I clear this out? And in this third week, it's really saying what comes up that week is something to examine. Question it. Why is it here? What's it doing? Is it actually helping me or not? If not, it's got to go. Your fourth week is the energy of the bee. And we have spread heart healing with joy with Archangel. I have not heard of this angel before. Pranimalik? We'll see. Bees are fifth dimensional insects coming from the Pleiades, the wondrous plane of heart healing. Their service work is to be pollinators for Earth, and they are instrumental in the survival of our planet. They travel enormous distances to collect nectar to make honey, and wherever they go, they happily pour their healing into the land, animals, and people. Angels use the vibration of their humming sound to communicate love to those in the vicinity. Bees' hives are built to sacred geometry, and angels sing over them to hold the frequencies high. Fairies and elementals gather around hives to bathe in this angelic light. The bees in this energy remind you to do everything with joy. When you serve others, the planet with your heart open, an alchemical change takes place in the giver and the receiver. You become one and thus spread oneness through the universe. When you are doing a job, back in the day we had the song, I can't remember which movie it was from, but it was Whistle While You Work. Another one is like spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. All these Disney sometimes quotes. But what it means is when you're happy doing the job that you're doing, whether it's working for yourself, working for a company, whatever it is, when you can bring that joy and that vibrancy for life into the workplace, don't be obnoxious about it, but just be happy. Be in that more positive, high frequency state. It's going to resonate out. You'll notice when you do like a meditation before you go to work, especially if you work in retail, and you get really grounded in this high frequency energy, working with your guides and angels. When you go to work in that much more positive state, you're not going to have the grumpy customers. The computers are going to work for you, or at least you can make fun of them and make the customers laugh, which is what I like to do. You'll always find reasons to be in a joyous state when you work with the bee energy, and the energy from the bees humming. Now, if you're allergic to bees, it's a little different because it tends to make you want to run the other way. But when you listen to bees humming in flowers, which is one of the more calming sounds to me anyway in the summer, you'll notice that you actually start to shift a little bit in your consciousness. You go from the monkey beta brain, and it settles you more into an alpha state. That's the other aspect. When they talk about the angels coming in and being around this energy and blessing it, that's what they're talking about, is the bees buzzing, especially the big old bumblebees. They are so calming and they're comical. They just bring joy because they're such little tanks floating through the air. This is interesting. I'm pretty sure this is the Pleiades as well. The Seven Star Sisters, Birthing Creation's Tapestry of Life and Expression is your message from Source. It's really saying, be aware of how amazing your life is. You're birthing new things. The tapestry of life, it's the most amazing thing. You are the weaver of your existence. We work with God Source Divine. We work in conjunction with making this life amazing. A lot of us have been taught, well, you just have to take what life gives you. That's the way it is. But it's really not. The more we understand, our decisions make our life. Whether it's, amazing or damned, it's all based on what our decisions are. Now, there are outside forces that can influence it, but are we doing our part to help negate as much of that as we can? Are we staying focused? Are we getting clear on our goals? And what I'm hearing in this fourth week is, As you're bringing that joy in, you're bringing yourself more and more into that alignment with what is it you're actually looking for. And fire, spiritually, this month so far, it's really saying, get clear before you move. Just like the I-ching said, don't rush things this month. Allow the negative upheaval, whatever that is, to show up and examine it for what it is, understand it, and then make your moves. But don't go rushing around this month. Your lesson or challenge is the 10 of Ariel. There is so very much to be grateful for: financial success, the promise of retirement, a rich and rewarding family life. These are some of the goals you're looking for. This is giving you a little bit of a hint, a lesson into what it is you could be looking for. The 10 of Ariel is also saying, don't forget what's important. Don't get, so wrapped up in the, looking for the trees and but you can't see the forest. This is the energy that we're getting here. Is this fourth week doesn't really have a rough harshness to it. It's really saying this is going to be a week where you, because of what you've done so far this month, you're really tapping into that joy. You're tapping into that prosperity, and that's overflowing into everyone else's vibe where they're like, I like working with so-and-so. They have got the coolest energy. They're always smiling. They're laughing. Your success is going to grow based upon that. So let's take a peek at our final week for January for our fire family. It is the hyena. Dare to be different with Archangel Jophiel or Eophiel. Hyenas are intelligent and unusual animals. They originate from Uranus and step into Earth through Sirius. All creatures from Uranus are harbingers of change and often behave in ways that challenge the norm, bringing about social transformation. So, through their laughter, apparently, they bring in some goofy antics, which kind of fits with the rest of this reading. Hyenas experiment with variants of long front legs and short back ones. Usually females are the leaders. I might have to sneeze just a second. And they're much heavier than the males. Archangel Jophiel works with these animals to keep the connection to Uranus clear. Hyena wisdom reminds you to accept your own special qualities. We are all different, and you are called to rejoice in your uniqueness. Be ready to bring about change in the dynamic of your family or community or in a work situation. So you have been setting yourself up, taking your time, doing the inner work, checking on how things are, what needs to be released, and by the end of the month, the hyenas are saying, okay, now that you understand you better, how are you showing up for other people? How do other people see you? Are you definitely okay with stepping out and being a little bit of the, oh, that's that oddball crystal dude over there, or oh, that's that person that always smells like patchouli? You don't have to go that extreme, but are you willing to step out and be the change you want to see in the world? Fire, you're very spontaneous. Things need to happen fast for you in most cases. But what I'm hearing in this fifth week is embrace your weirdness, embrace your uniqueness. Be okay with people may not like you. That's fine. That's their issue, not yours. It's, matter of taste. But really enjoy how things have changed. This is the first of the year. You're setting yourself up for whatever you want to manifest this year. So really take in this last week and just laugh about it. Don't worry about the trips and falls. There have been a couple through the month. It's okay. Find the humor in it and really tap into that joy. Your message from Source is you are not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community. What I'm hearing with this one from God's Source Divine is do not isolate yourself. Do not pull back from the world. Who cares what other people think? You are here, especially when you tap into this hyena energy, which is all about being different anyway. You're really here to embrace the life that you planned before you came into this world. You're doing so because you found your particular weirdo to hang out with, your spouse. You've got your inner circle, and they're all unique characters into themselves. But now it's okay with being out there. You're not alone. You never are. Most people think that they're alone, but they've got like a bigger social life than they realize. But what it's saying is, even if you do happen to have just like that 3 or 4 friends, sometimes it's quality over quantity. They're all, sorry. He's also saying embrace how things have changed in your life, in your community, because you are part of the glue that holds everything together. And they joke about it in some of the horror films, and I talk about it once in a while. We really do have a connection to each other. Every single person you interact with, whether you speak hi to them in the grocery store one time, whether you run across them when you're buying your car, whatever it is, we're connecting to those people. What are we connecting to them with? Are we connecting to them with joy? Are we connecting to them with peace? Because our connection is strong with God Source Divine. I'm hearing this month is really about you building your spiritual connection first and foremost. That's like the big important one. Everything else is going to fall into place as we develop those connections. Our connections with our friends and family, keep them strong. They're going to keep you from being a little too over the top at times, but they're also going to be there to encourage you when you feel like you just can't do it. You can. And that's what they're wanting to say this month is for. Your lesson or challenge, I'm hearing this is a lesson straight up, is the Magician, number 1 in the major arcana. These are huge life lessons, and I'm getting chills right now. They're saying this is a lesson for the month. Pay attention to this. With Archangel Raziel, you can manifest the life you want. What you need will appear. Successful beginnings. The Magician has all the tools at his disposal or her disposal to create whatever it is you want in life. Fire. This month is saying your first kind of goal is to connect back into God's Source Divine. Really build that spiritual energy. Really build that spiritual connection. When you do, you will realize that you 100% have had all of the tools at your disposal that you have ever needed. And from that point, you can literally build the life you were meant to lead, the life you agreed to before you came into this physical incarnation. Take those gifts and use them wisely, Fire family. With that, we will wrap this session up. I hope you guys have a great month of January. Let me know in the comments down below what resonated, what didn't. If you feel comfortable with that, like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and I will see you in the next video.